everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. This is the Brittany Reacts Show. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry that I was late. I know I'm now like 11 minutes late. That was not intentional. It was just I was still working on all the slides and all the numbers and stuff, so I just wasn't ready yet. It wasn't any technical issues. I saw some people theorizing. Nope, not this time. It wasn't technical issues. I just wasn't ready. But now I'm ready. We have a good show to talk about. Like I said, today's show is going to be about revying the summer movie season.
It was just, I was still working on all the slides and all the numbers.
I still have me open. Let me cut that off. My bad. Anyway, now there's a technical issue. As soon as I said there's no technical issues, there was a technical issue. Sort of. But anyway, like I said, today is going to be all about reviewing the summer movie season and comparing how well the movies actually did compared to how I thought the movie season would go. I did a whole stream at the very beginning of the summer movie season where I predicted what I thought the top 10 would be, and I gave my thoughts on all the movies and why I ranked them the way that I did and how much I thought they would make. And so I have that list here to again today. We're going to go over my old list, and then we're going to go over the actual top 10 list for the summer. And it's a very wildly different list, crazy different list. I was dead wrong about so many movies. So many movies. Really, I was just kind of like dead wrong about a lot of things. Not even just the order of the movies, but also the fact that I thought a lot of movies would make more money than they did. As you'll see at the very end when we compare my old list to the actual list, I thought movies would do better overall. Like, we had some big hits, like obviously Deadpool and Inside Out, but overall there were a lot of like flops this summer and just movies that did kind of mediocre, and I thought we would have more hits than we did. So yeah, my list was definitely, as you'll see, totally wrong. But how are you guys doing? Hi Rob, hi Prototype, hi Nate, hi Natanya, hi Star Sped Up, hi Vincent, hi DeBoy, hi Rulu, hi Rob. Hi Cream Cheese, hi Queen Bee, hi Raylan, hi Jiminy Craft Style, hi Jordan, hi Concert Master. Thank you to each and every one of you who comes to my show every day. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Cheetah Viper, Madam Web was earlier in the year, so that's not going to be on here. Hi Blue Gecko Nerd. So yes, there's a lot of movies that did make the top 10 list for the summer that I was like, how in the world did this make the list? Like, number 10 will shock you. It shocked me. But I won't spoil that until we actually get to the real list. So, like I said, first of all, we're going to go over what I thought would happen first, and then we're going to go over what actually happened. So, let's start off what I thought would actually happen. It's really embarrassing in hindsight because so many of these are like just so dead wrong. But anyway, let's look at it. So, the first movie that I thought what I was just dead wrong about is The Fall Guy. My original list, I had this at number 10 for the summer, making somewhere between $200 and $250 million. I can tell you already, spoiler alert, that movie isn't even on the actual summer list because it didn't even make 200. This movie flopped so bad. This movie flopped so bad. And here I was thinking maybe this was lowballing it a bit. But I was like, you know, Ryan Reynolds is coming off of Barbie. People really like Emily Blunt. She's coming off of Oppenheimer. Almost like a Barbenheimer 2.0. But no, people did not want to see this movie. People clearly did not care. This movie didn't even make the actual list. So the fact that I put it at number 10 on mine and making up to $250 million is kind of comical. The crazy thing is, I saw this movie. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. But I can also see why people wouldn't want to go, like, run out to go see this. I do think the movie had a lot of flaws. I thought the third act was quite bad. And the movie was so meta that the actors, or I should say the characters, kept pointing out the fact that they had third act problems. So I think even the movie was aware that the ending was weak. But yeah, really... I'm not surprised by this. I think it's kind of a so-so movie. Honestly, I forgot about this movie before I even made this list. I was like, oh yeah, The Fall Guy came out. And yeah, very much a disappointing flop. Did not even make the overall top 10, as you will see. Very, very disappointing. And also just kind of shows you that, like, putting movie stars in your movie is not a guaranteed hit. It's not a guaranteed, like, win whatsoever. Because these are two very popular actors, and not even them together could really bring people to want to go see this movie. Did I say the wrong Reynolds? Wrong Ryan. I'm sorry, Ryan Gosling. You guys know what I'm talking about, but yeah. Did anyone actually see The Fall Guys? Are you surprised that it's not going to be on the overall list? This is one of the ones I was like dead wrong about. Rob says, I had The Fall Guy at 6, staying. My number 10 was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Well, we'll talk about that later on. That's okay, Alexander. We just started. Prototype says they're great actors, so it was an issue with the script. Yeah, I think the script was an issue. I don't think the script was very tight. I had some issues with the story, as I said. I don't think it's like a amazing movie overall, so I can kind of see why it flopped, but I did expect it to do better. A lot of you guys have never even seen it, so I mean, that checks out. Again, the box office was like less than 200 million for this movie. Really, really bad. Oh, Star Sped Up says the movie just screams flop. Yeah, a lot of you said that you thought the trailer for it or the marketing for it was very bland. I kind of agree. I didn't even want to see this movie. I had someone else that wanted to see this movie, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll go see it. But this was not even like one of the movies I was really anticipating or anything. So yeah, I do think that the marketing didn't really make this movie look all that exciting. So that's probably the issue as well. But moving on to the next movie. So, A Quiet Place Day 1. This one, this is the one, I thought this movie would do well, and as you will see on the overall list, it did do well. So I won't spoil how much it made just yet, but I did think it would make somewhere between $250 and $230 million. And I did like this movie. I don't like the movie as much as I was hoping to. I still think the first two are superior, especially the first one, because I thought the second one wasn't as good. But I thought I do think it's a decent movie overall. Again, you'll see that there's kind of a trend here with all of these movies, and that a lot of them I don't think are terrible. I don't think are horrible movies, but I also don't think they're like super strong or all that great. But yeah, this is what I thought it would do, and you'll see later on what it actually does. But yeah, decent movie. I thought it'd be number 9. I was kind of right about it. You'll see in the overall list, but yeah. What did you guys think about this movie? Did you think it was better than just alright? Or did anyone love this movie? Did you think it would make more? Alexander says you love Lupita. She deserves to get more roles. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that Lupita got like a starring role in this movie. That's true. I had a lot of problems with the script. That was my issue. They didn't explain a lot of things, and I was just like, oh, I gotta, yeah. It's like, again, like with the last movie, the script for me was the issue. Cinnamon Roll hasn't seen it. Oh, Jordan, you didn't like it at all. You were mad about it. Okay. Yes, Star Sped Up agrees it's one of the weaker Quiet Place movies. Yeah, I agree. So it seems like we all mostly agree that this movie was just kind of meh. But like I said, we'll see how it shows up on the overall list. I have this at number 9. And then at number 8, I had Bad Boys for Life, making only between $300 to $400 million. Which, we'll see how it shows up on the overall list, but I actually think I was almost spot on. So I just had this much lower than it actually turned out being on the overall list, which just shows you how weak the actual summer was, because just a spoiler alert, I was actually like pretty much dead on the money for this movie, but it's much higher on the overall list, which just shows you how low the overall summer is. The fact that it can make this much money and still be much higher on the actual list, that's really, really bad. Honestly, once I actually put together the top 10 list, I was like, this summer actually was kind of not great. I was pretty much saved by like maybe 3 hit movies, this being one of them, and it still only made like, as you'll see, within this range. So yeah, this is kind of disappointing, but yeah, I'm glad that I did this just to see like how well the summer actually did, because honestly, once I put together the actual top 10, I was like, oh, this summer was kind of weak actually. But I really like this movie. I did not care about this franchise at all before I saw the last Bad Boys movie. And now that I've seen the last two, I really like this franchise overall. I think they're consistently good movies, surprisingly good movies, because you would think these movies would be like kind of bad B movies, just to be honest, because of the type of genre that it is. But they're not. They're actually like really solid, good action flicks. I really like both of these movies. I'm glad that they're doing well and continuing to make them. But yeah, I was surprised to see how much higher on the list it is on the actuals, but we'll get to that. Anyone actually see Bad Boys for Life? What did you think about it? Prototype, haven't seen a single movie of this franchise. Okay. Alexandra is happy for Will Smith. Yeah, the fact that this movie was considered a hit is a very good, very big deal for Will Smith, because that just shows you that his career is not dead. Hi, Angel. Vincent Hool says, sorry, we'll have a bad 100-year anniversary like Disney. Oh, Sony will have a bad 100-year. Yeah, maybe. Seems a lot of you guys haven't seen this movie. Really, I would check this movie out. I wouldn't recommend a movie unless I really liked it, so that should tell you what I think about these movies. I really like them, actually. And I had no opinion of these movies before I saw the last Bad Boys, so these films just really won me over to the franchise. But moving on to the next one, the next movie I had was Furiosa. Oh my god, I put Furiosa. I thought this would open between $350 to $400 million. Spoiler alert, didn't come close. Did not come close. I way overpredicted this movie. Way overpredicted this movie. I thought because, back in 2015 when Mad Max Fury Road came out, I remember there was a lot of hype over that movie. People loved it. I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I understood why people loved it. So I thought that hype, that interest would carry over, and the same people who saw Fury Road would want to see this, but that did not happen. As you will see once we get to the overall list, this did not do well at all. In fact, I would go as far as to say as this and the Fall Guy are probably two of the biggest flops, well, two of the three biggest flops of the summer. Total flop. Which is crazy because you just know that it was like terrible working conditions. I mean, poor Anya Taylor-Joy won't even talk about what it was like making this movie because it was so horrible for her. And it seems like it was all kind of for nothing because it didn't even do that well, and it's not getting Oscar buzz like the last movie got. So it really just kind of was a flop across the board. Anyone surprised that this movie didn't do that well? I mean, I really overpredicted this. Like, this is one of my worst predictions from the original list. Rob says, you think you overpredicted. I had it at number 4. Oh, Rob, you had it at number 4. I'm so sorry. We were both dead wrong about this movie. Very wrong. Again, it just shows you how bad overall the summer was. Like, the fact that this couldn't even reach 350 is... This was actually a pretty weak summer, as you guys will see. Angel, never heard of it. Oh my god. Alexander says, I think Furiosa tarnished both Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth's career. I agree with you. I actually fully agree with you. I don't know how Anya Taylor-Joy is going to come back from this, because this, I think, reflects really badly on her ability to, like, generate hype and sell tickets. This was, like, her first big lead in a big blockbuster movie, and it was a total massive flop. If I were her, I would try to go back and, like, maybe make Queen's Gambit season 2 or something. Or just another, like, prestige TV show that hopefully gets a lot of hype. Because I don't see Hollywood picking up the phone to call her for future roles after this. Not big ones, anyway. This was a huge test for her, and unfortunately she kind of flopped. Also, Chris Hemsworth. This is why I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Thor back in the MCU, because this is also a test for him. And he's just not having a lot of, like, he's really having no luck getting a hit outside of Marvel. Like, almost every movie he's been in, like, that's gone to theaters since Marvel has flopped, which is really sad. I like Chris Hemsworth. I think he seems like a nice dude, but it just seems like no one really cares to see his movies unless he's playing Thor. Really, yeah, as Young Hollywood said, this was a really weak summer, as you guys will see. Cinnamon Roll says, I hope Anya can bounce back after this film. I think she'll need to, like, build up more hype again. Like, she got all of this because of Queen's Gambit, which came out like years ago. And I just, like I said, if I were her, I would be like, hey, Netflix, want to do a season 2? I really liked that show, by the way. Queen's Gambit was really, really good. It deserved the hype that it got. I mean, people got hyped over chess, for crying out loud. That's how good that show was. She was really good in it. I just think maybe she needs to take roles more like that. Maybe she was trying to jump into being an action star and people just don't see her as that. I don't know. I think she needs to go away and like do some prestige TV shows again to build the hype back, but we'll see. Okay, Rob says you just weren't interested in Furiosa without Charlize Theron. Maybe that was it. I think maybe more fans of the original Fury Road would have maybe saw this if it was Charlize Theron, because at least it would have seemed like a direct, like, continuation of that story, even though this is a prequel. But yeah, the fact that they recasted the character maybe, I think, just disconnected the two movies too much, and that's probably why, like, that fan base didn't really show up for this movie. Anyway, but number 6, Borderlands. I was so wrong about this, y'all. I was so wrong about this movie. Like, wow. I thought this would make between 400 to 450 million. Let me explain. So, I thought Borderlands. I've heard of this game. I thought, if I've heard of this game, then this must be a really super popular IP that, like, you know, video games are really going to show up and support. I was dead wrong. I was so wrong. Oh my god. As you will see again on the overall chart, doesn't even make the list. Does not even make the list. It did that poorly. Again, that just kind of shows you how badly the summer did overall. That none of these movies really popped that big. Like, really, we just kind of had Inside Out 2 and Deadpool that made... Oh, and Despicable Me, as you'll see. That did big numbers. Everything else kind of did mediocre to just straight out flopping. Which is not really healthy for, like, an overall business. But yeah, we'll get to the overall list. But yeah, totally was wrong about this movie. Could not have been more wrong. I guess video game fans were like, F that, that's not my movie. I also think they miscasted this movie. I don't know why they casted, like, Cate Blanchett in this film. Or, oh, I'm drawing a blank. The other lady, you know who I'm talking about. I don't know why they casted such older actors for a property that appeals to such a young audience. I don't think that was a smart idea, just from a business perspective. I think that's probably one reason why video game fans rejected this. Just because I do think that this was miscast. This cast seems very random and not young audience friendly to me. And that's the audience that they were supposed to be going for. Anyone actually see Borderlands? Are you surprised that it didn't even make the overall list? Are you surprised by how high I had it on my original list? Lika says too many old people. Jocelyn Wolf says, I heard that the Borderlands movie completely disregarded and disrespected the source material. Yeah. If I had known that this was disrespectful to the source material, I would have not had this on my list, but I for some reason mistakenly thought it was going to be very accurate, and it obviously wasn't. Prototype says, oh yeah, Cate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, thank you, are way too old to play these characters, but worse is that the characterization that is completely jumbled. Oh, so they're not only miscast, but they also got the characterization wrong? Oh yeah, this was doomed from the beginning. If I had known more about the video game, maybe I would have known. But yeah, I guess not too surprising here. But moving on to number 5, I had it at I had 5 for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This is another one I was actually kind of on the money for a little bit. I had this a little too high, as you'll see. Again, just a very weak summer overall, but at least I did think that it would be in the top 5. I thought this movie had a chance at being successful, just because I know the Planet of the Apes franchise overall has had some success in the past with the Caesar movies. And I do like the Caesar movies. So I thought this one had a chance at being a hit. I overpredicted a little bit, as you'll see, but at least I was sort of close to being right. Did anyone see this movie? Did you like this movie? Or did you think maybe I was predicting too much? What do you think? Oh, Danielle says you skip anything with Jamie Lee Curtis? That's fascinating. I do recommend you see Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's a very kooky movie. It's not for everyone, but I do recommend watching that. Young Hollywood thought the Apes movie was a joke? Why did you think it was a joke? Interesting. Jordan says never wanted to watch it, and then I finally watched it and fell asleep. Yeah, that was one of the biggest critiques I've heard about this movie. Was that it was apparently boring. Apparently, people thought it was very slow, not very eventful, maybe too story-based, not enough action. That was a lot of the complaints around the movie. So that's maybe why it was it still kind of performed on the lower end. I don't even know. I think Disney's probably going to want to try to continue with this franchise. But honestly, I think they're going to probably need to do some more revamping to it, because I don't think this story that they had really appealed to enough people. Because I know a lot of people that were like, I thought the movie was kind of boring. So yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of a theme with a lot of these movies, is that it's not even that they didn't do that well, it's just that they weren't even that, like, well received. Like, a lot of these movies were either poorly received or just people thought it was just okay. That's really an issue for Hollywood. They need more movies that really, like, knock people off their feet, and there's not been a ton of movies coming out that have done that. Rob says the human girl takes over out of nowhere in the third act. Yeah, like, a lot of people had issues with this movie, so I'm kind of not surprised in that sense that this movie didn't do as well as I thought it would do. But I still thought maybe the franchise IP would carry it more, and it just clearly didn't. Okay, hey, JCB says the old ones were better. I do think that the original Planet of the Apes film has, like, a certain magic to it that hasn't been in any of the recent Caesar movies or this one. I do think that, I don't know, maybe it's because they did it practically. I don't know what it is, but I do feel like the old Planet of the Apes movies did. I think I do like those movies better in general. Miss Player says, I thought it was a Disney brand and people want it to fail. Well, if it didn't do as well just because it was Disney, then we wouldn't have two other movies on this list that did really well that were also Disney. So I don't think it was the Disney issue. But moving on. Twisters! I thought Twisters would be a surprise, massive hit. I had this at number 4. I thought Twisters was going to be a surprise hit because, I thought, like, the middle of America would really like this movie. And to be fair, I think when it actually came out, like, the majority of the people who did want to see this movie opening weekend actually were from Middle America, not on the coast, in, like, New York and LA, which is where most people usually go to the movies. So I was right about that, but I thought more people from Middle America would want to see this than they actually did. I thought this would make between 500 to 550 million. And as you guys will see, that was not the case. Not the case, not even close to being the case. I way overpredicted this movie. I also overpredicted Glenn Powell's star power. I thought maybe he could drive more people to the theater, but no. Yeah, this, as you'll see, didn't nearly end up doing as much, but I thought this would do really, really well. So, Madonna says this was a yawn movie. As you guys, I've already said it repeatedly, I did not care for this as much as I wanted to. Honestly, okay, I think I'm not alone, because I think I remember before this movie came out that they had done some sort of test, like some survey for likely viewers that said, like, what is the main reason you want to see this movie? And the number one reason people wanted to see this movie was not for the romance, not for any of the characters. It was for the tornado disasters and all the, like, disaster movie stuff. Like, people wanted to see some tornado action. And this movie severely lacked tornado action. They made the tornadoes seem not even scary. And I think that was its biggest mistake. I think, honestly, this movie needed to be more like San Andreas. where you just see like massive destruction on a huge city-wide scale, and like I think this movie would have done better. I didn't like the focus on the relationship and the characters as much. And maybe I wasn't alone. Maybe I'm actually in the majority, because I honestly think if they made the twisters scarier and they focused more on the destruction and stuff, I think this would have done better. I think the movie could have been better. But yeah. JB says $500 million. That is even worse than I thought. No, Jay, this is what I thought would happen. Just to clarify if you came in late, this is not the actual number that it made. This is what I thought it would make at the beginning of the summer. You will see later on that this is not what it made at all. It made a lot less, actually. Unpukaloko says, give me a 2.5 hour movie that ends so open-ended I spend all night thinking about with my friends all day. Oh! Well, I mean, there's a lot of movies that end open-ended. I hate when movies do that. That's one of the one downside that I didn't like about Alien Romulus, is that it ended open-ended. That can be really frustrating for a lot of people. I'll never forget, by the way, this is a total side note, but I'll never forget the first time that I watched Gone with the Wind. Because the first time I watched Gone with the Wind was actually for my high school film class. And it took, because the movie's so freaking long, it took us like several like class periods to finish this movie, right? And then we finally get to the end, and if you've seen Gone with the Wind, you know it ends with an ambiguous ending. And you're like, we just went through 4 freaking hours of this stuff and it ends ambiguously? Are you kidding me? I was so mad. I still remember being so mad. I mean, I love that movie overall. I ended up watching it a second time on my own just because I liked it. But the ending is very frustrating for how much time you spend in that movie. It's like, really? Really? That's totally separate. Star Sped Up, you like Twisters. Okay. Alexander, you hate Gone with the Wind, you think it's boring. I kind of like it. Even though it's very problematic, I still like the story overall. I just don't like that they didn't give us like a nice, satisfying ending. But anyway, moving on. That was entirely, I don't know how we got on the subject of Gone with the Wind, but anyway. So moving on. So I thought that number 3 would be Despicable Me. I wasn't totally wrong about the placement, but I was wrong about how much money it would make. It definitely made more than this. So this is one that I actually underestimated. I thought that this franchise would start losing steam just because I didn't feel like the interest was there as much as it used to be. But no, the movie still did really well, as you'll see. I still think they'll probably make another Despicable Me movie, and it'll probably do well. They'll probably make another Minions, too. They're not going to stop making movies from this franchise until people stop seeing them. So I thought maybe this would be the movie where things started to slow down, but not really. This one still did well. So as you'll see, I way underpredicted this movie. Well, not way, but I did underpredict this movie. I did see it too. I did not care for it. I think I've actually seen almost all, if not all, the Despicable Me movies at this point, because back when they were first coming out, I really actually liked the Minions quite a lot. I don't know, maybe I was just immature. I was like a teenager when the first one came out, so maybe I was just really immature. But I really liked the Minions. I really liked the movies when they were first coming out, but now I'm like, I don't care about them. They're tiring, they're annoying, I don't like them. Maybe I just grew up, I don't know. But like, I used to like these movies, so I think I've seen all of them. But yeah, I thought, because like my interest was kind of running out with these films, I thought other people would be too, but apparently kids still love these movies. Natanya thought the writing could have been better. Yeah, I think the writing could have been a lot better. I think the jokes even could have been a lot better. I don't even think the movie was all that funny. And I actually think the first Minions movie is pretty funny. This wasn't even that funny. Cinnamon Wall says, the franchise seems to still be doing well. I know a lot of people like these movies. The original is a classic. Yeah, I think the original is a classic at this point. And apparently a lot of kids still love these movies. That's why they're never going to go away. Joe Pedro says the franchise is probably going to slow down from the next one on. We'll see. I thought this one would be the one, and it wasn't. Oh, you didn't know these movies did so well? Yeah, these movies do very, very well. And Pharrell is forever making a bag with this franchise, so I know he doesn't want these movies to end either. Un Poco Loco says, I don't think people realize that actually the important movies like Inside Out and how it helps kids express themselves after the terrible COVID era where kids had to struggle emotionally. Well, that's a good point for Inside Out too. We'll get to that movie, but yeah, you guys know I love Inside Out too. Can't say enough good things about that film. Really, there's not even like one thing I wish the movie had done better. Like, I really did like it a lot. Moving on though. So number 2, I had, this is really wrong. You guys, my list was just so wrong. So number 2, I had Deadpool and Wolverine. And I thought it would do between 650 to 750. Here's why. You guys know I thought this movie was facing an uphill battle. I thought people are not as interested in superhero movies. People are not as interested in the MCU. People don't like Disney right now. There's never been an X-Men film that's made $1 billion. We just had Hugh, well, not Hugh, but we did just have, the X-Men come back at least a little bit, only a few years ago. And, that didn't help Multiverse of Madness make $1 billion. So I really thought there was a lot of things going against this movie that I genuinely didn't think it would reach $1 billion or even get close. So I was out there making this boldly wrong prediction that this would only get between, 650 to 750, but I definitely underestimated the popularity of Wolverine. I think without Wolverine, this movie would not have gotten near as much as it did. I also underestimated how much people would have cared about the characters that showed up in this film. I thought people would be kind of cameoed out, or they would feel like it was too much homework. And still, to be honest, there was a lot of freaking movies that you gotta see to understand this movie. A lot. Not only do you have to, just have a general knowledge of the MCU, you also have to see, all the Deadpool movies, all the Fox movies, which includes all the X-Men movies, plus, Elektra and Blade and all of that. I just thought that would be too much homework for the average person, so I thought that would hurt the movie as well. But nope. People apparently didn't have a problem with that at all, because the movie made a lot of money, as you will see in the actual list. So anyone surprised that it made as much money as it did, or do you think I was crazy for ever thinking it could possibly reach this low? Alexander says, Hugh Jackman was amazing and Ryan Reynolds was annoying. I do think Ryan Reynolds was very one note in this movie. His entire performance was the same key the entire movie. As you guys know, I didn't even love this film. I only just liked it. I had a lot of problems with it, honestly. I wanted to love it, but I didn't. So I know a lot of you guys like this movie more than I did, but hey, it was a huge success, so you guys don't need me to love it. Okay, Star Sped Up thought it was amazing, but Cheetah Viper was very shocked by the numbers. But Jal Pedro was not surprised. Dee Dee says this is one of your favorite movies of 2024. I know, most people really liked it. Most people, critics, well, I don't know about critics, but audiences really, really loved this movie. So I know I'm kind of in the minority here. I just thought that, do you guys know, what's his last name? Why am I drawing blanks on names? There's a pundit on YouTube that talks about film and stuff like that. He's been on John Campia's show and stuff like that, but he has his own YouTube channel where he does he has something called Robservations or whatever. I forgot his last name, but it's Rob. Some of you may know who I'm talking about. I watched his review on this movie because he didn't love it either, and I kind of wanted to understand why I didn't love it, and he explained a lot of the things that kind of it was kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't realize that's what it was rubbing me the wrong way. And it's the fact that I think that this movie kind of breaks the reality of the Marvel Universe, to the point where I can no longer connect with anything. As I explained in my last live stream, I really, really no, not John's, Rob. I just forgot his last name. I'm drawing a blank. But But Robert Meyer Burnett, that's what I'm talking about. He did a really good review of this that kind of explained why he didn't care for this movie, and I agreed with a lot of his points. So, as I explained in my last stream, I really prefer low fantasy over high fantasy because I like to be able to connect to the real world in some way, and I like there to be some sort of rules around reality that still makes sense. Even if you're doing a lot of fantastical stuff, the laws of your universe need to be consistent. The laws of your universe need to make sense for your reality to be grounded and make sense. And I felt like this movie kind of just ripped through the reality of the MCU in a way that now, like, I don't feel like the entire universe is tethered to anything grounded. And I think that's why I find it hard to really connect with this movie. It's because I felt like it was too out there. It was asking me to suspend my disbelief a little too much at times. And I really had a problem with that. I think that, I just had a lot of issues with this movie, but I know a lot of you guys are going to agree with me. I mean, this is kind of low fantasy, but I just felt like it was so out there that I couldn't connect with it. But that was just me personally. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. Did anyone want to say anything about this movie? Rob said, this is how I feel about sci-fi. Okay, I actually really like sci-fi when it's good sci-fi, because I like when sci-fi can kind of help us predict what comes next. I think that's why I actually like sci-fi more than fantasy. Concert Master says, I agree exactly what you said. Too hyper sci-fi fantasy. Yeah, that's how I feel. Rob said, but that's what Loki did too. I know! And that's actually something, I'm glad you brought that up, Rob, because that's something else that Robert also brought up in his review, is that for him, the MCU broke reality with Loki first. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. In fact, if you guys remember in Loki season 1, there's a scene in the first episode, I think it's actually at the very end of the first episode, where they established that none of the Infinity Stones work in that area where, the TVA is. And I think I remember thinking in that scene, that kind of just breaks all the rules for me. Like, think about it. This was only shortly after Endgame came out, right? And in Endgame, they had established that these Infinity Stones were super powerful, super important. It was all world-ending, universe-ending even. And then we get to Loki, and they're like, oh yeah, these Infinity Stones are like paperweights here. I feel like that was, for me, one of the first times in the MCU where I was like, nope, I don't like that. That kind of breaks your own rules. Even though they were just saying they were useless only at the TVA, I just felt like they were adding too many layers to things where I was just like, you're kind of losing me here. And so I'm glad that you brought up Loki, because that's also kind of an example of what I'm talking about here. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense to you guys? Sorry if you can hear my dog. Oh, Star Sped Up, this is your favorite movie ever? Oh, I'm sorry I'm being so negative about it, but that's just how I feel. Alexander Padilla says, I can't watch Black Mirror anymore because we are living in Black Mirror. I don't even think Black Mirror is as edgy as it used to be because we are living in Black Mirror. I don't think the show can catch up with reality anymore. Anyway, that's just my opinion on the movie and why I didn't really like it. So moving on. So number 1 was Inside Out 2. Now, I was right that Inside Out 2 would make more than Deadpool, so I got that right. But I did not get right how much this movie would make, because I thought this would be successful. As you guys saw, I thought it could make like $800 million. But I did not see it making literally twice that. as you will see in the actual chart. It made literally twice this. So this is not just a hit. It's like a massive mega hit, 10th highest grossing movie of all time. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Could not see that coming. I thought it would be the winner of the summer. I did, but I did not see it being as successful as it was. So way underestimated this movie by far. Honestly, I think it's just because the movie was so good. If the movie wasn't as good as it was, maybe it wouldn't have made as much money as it did. But the fact is, the movie, I think, is genuinely one of Pixar's best, or at least one of their best movies in a long time. So I think it's totally deserved. Love this movie. I think it's great. But still way underestimated this movie, and I thought it would be number one. So, yeah. Very good film. Happy for it. But yeah, still underestimated it. Any other thoughts on Inside Out 2 before I move on to the actual list of the summer? You wish that Inside Out 2 would beat the Lion King remake? Well, it might. It might actually. It's actually pretty close, so it might do that. See, most of you guys are just saying you really love Inside Out 2. So yeah, really, really deserved. Love the movie. Let's get on to the actual top 10 list. So, you guys are not going to believe what's at number 10. You guys are not going to believe what's at number 10, y'all. I couldn't believe it. I literally had to, like, quadruple check this. Because I was like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. You guys are never going to guess. Okay, I'm going to give you guys, like, a few seconds to guess what number 10 is. What is the 10th highest grossing movie of the summer? You got not one of you will get it right. Not one of you. What do you think is the 10th highest grossing movie of the summer? I'll give you guys a minute to guess. I doubt a single one of you will get it right. Prototype wants me to just show it. Well, I'm going to get to it. There's a delay on the thing, so I'm going to wait. Okay. Interesting. Seeing some good guesses. Madam Web was too early. You guys got some good guesses. Okay, so 2 of you actually did get it correct. And I was shocked as F. I was shocked as hell, really. If made $190 million worldwide, this movie is the 10th highest grossing movie of the summer. That's how bad this summer did. Wow! I mean, then it only made $190 million. It only made $190 million. And it still made the top 10. Mind you, in my original number 10, I had The Fall Guy, which I thought would make at least 200. So that just shows you how bad this summer did when, like, all it took to crack the top 10 was make $190 million. I mean, this just proves Ryan Reynolds is 100% the most bankable star in Hollywood right now. Because only him could sell this piece of crap. Only Ryan Reynolds could sell a movie like this. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for this, but this looked like one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Like, I thought it was a joke movie. Like, it's the kind of movie that SNL would, like, have a parody of, like, as a fake trailer for, or something. Like, it looked like a parody. It didn't look like a real movie. It looked like a joke. So the fact that this made almost $200 million, Ryan Reynolds is easily the most bankable star right now in Hollywood. No one comes close, not even Tom Cruise. Because I don't think Tom Cruise himself could make this movie make $190 million. I was shocked when I saw this. I had to, like, quadruple check this because I was like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way, but no way. This happened. This movie made this much money. How? How? This is crazy. This is crazy. Star sped up. You said you saw it for Ryan Reynolds? This is what I'm saying. Okay, he has a lot of fans. I think a lot of people only saw this movie for Ryan Reynolds. Because, based on the trailer, I didn't see anything else that was in it that was worthy of going to the movies to see. Like, I thought the trailer looked like a joke. So the fact that this is number 10 is shocking to me. Shocking. Anyone not surprised by this? Are you like, oh yeah, I'm If's #1 stan, or I love this movie? Like, is anyone not surprised? Because I was shocked by this. Rob says, on that note, what happened to the art of good character design? That is just one of the many issues that I have with this movie. I haven't even seen it because I just thought it looked so bad. But yeah, the character designs are also pretty bad too. It's a Foster's Home ripoff, yeah. So it seems like none of you have even seen it. So who saw this movie? It must have just been kids. It just must have been kids. Like, maybe parents needed something to, like, have their kids go see, and this was the only kids movie that they could go see or something. I don't know. But it made enough to be the #10 movie of the summer. Shocked. I was very much shocked. Star Sped Up, I really think it's only because of Ryan Reynolds. I can't see any other reason this movie did as well as it did. But anyway, moving on. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, his wife is at #9. It ends with us. This movie I had never heard of before, like 2 weeks ago. It was at #9. With only 210 million, by the way. Again, just showing how weak this summer was. This movie is #9 with $210 million. And it beat out, like, The Fall Guy. Like, this made more money than The Fall Guy. Y'all, this made more money than Furiosa. And If made more money than Furiosa. Like, what is going on here? I had no idea this book existed. Sorry. I had no idea that this book existed, or this movie existed, until, like, the whole drama around Blake Lively started flaring up. So I'm shocked by this. This is a very shocking list, as you will see. But apparently a lot of women really saw this movie, and the book is really successful. Just, wow. Did not see this coming. Did not have that in my original top 10 list. This is a huge shock to me. How did this make more than The Fall Guy? I guess the book is really popular. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay, Nate has never heard of this movie. Yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys didn't even see this movie or heard of it. It's really shocking to me, honestly. Rob says you got nothing. Yeah, it seems like most of you didn't see this coming. This was another shocker on the list. I was like, how in the world? How in the absolute world? But anyway, #8 is the next surprising one that I was like, the F? Are you serious? The Garfield movie. The Garfield movie's on #8. What is this top 10 list, y'all? This made more money than Furiosa. This made more money than the freaking Fall Guy. The Garfield movie. Who still likes Garfield in 2024? What kids are like, you know what movie I want to go see? I want to go see the Garfield movie. What kids are like that right now? I want to meet those kids because they have an old soul. How did this movie make more? How did this movie make over $200 million? This is worldwide, by the way. These aren't domestic numbers. This is worldwide. Another surprising entry to the list that I did not see coming. And also really, really bad that we're at #8, by the way, and we're only at 210 million. That's how badly this summer actually was overall. Again, if you guys remember, in my #8, I had, where was my #8 was Bad Boys, which I thought would make up to 400 million. And we're on the actual #8, it's only 210 million. So yeah, very weak summer overall. Surprised to see this on the list. Didn't even make my original list. I thought it would flop super hard, but I mean, it still didn't even do that great. Like, this isn't even like an amazing number for it, which is the sad part. It just kind of, again, shows you how weak the whole overall summer was. The fact that this made only 210 million, but it's #8 on the list is really, really bad. But also still shocking that it made that much in the first place. Like, who is saying Garfield? Chris Pratt as a miscast. I actually think Chris Pratt is a good voice actor. I think he's a better voice actor than, like, regular actor. Unpokoloka says, when times are tough economically and politically, people tend to favor more basic and feel-good movies. 2024 is a perfect example. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Because, yeah, I did not see this coming. Why do you think this is so funny? Star sped up. I mean, a lot of you guys are laughing. I guess no one really saw this one coming. Yeah, really, really surprising list overall, as you guys are seeing. Number 7. A Quiet Place Day 1. Only made about $261 million, which is a lot less than what I thought it would make. Well, actually it was pretty spot on. I thought this would make between $250 to $350 million, and it made $261. So I was actually right. It was between those two numbers, but it sucks that it was on the lower end. I was hoping it would at least get up to the higher end, but at least I was right about it being between these two numbers. And I have this at number 9 because again I thought this overall summer would do better and more movies would make more money. So the fact that I was actually right, it was between these two numbers, but it only made it to number 7 is not good. It made it to number 7. That's not good. That's really not good. I'm happy that I at least got the range right, but I was hoping that it would make more than this. The fact that we're at number 7 and we're only at 261 million worldwide, again, very, very weak summer. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. Maybe women also love Garfield? I don't know, maybe is it women who saw Garfield? I would really be interested to see, what are the demographic breakdown of who went to see that movie, because I really don't know who that audience is. Yeah. Still only 261 million. Very, very low. Very, very low. A lot of these movies were very, very low, unfortunately. Yeah, Young Hollywood. I think next summer will look a lot better. There's a lot more bigger movies, more from bigger franchises that are coming out next year. So I do think next summer will hopefully look better. But yeah, this summer, looking back on it, was actually pretty bleak. Not good at all. But again, as I said already, I did think this movie could have been better, so not entirely surprising. But yeah, I do wish that it had done better just because I like Lupita Nyong'o. But yeah, still kind of only an okay number overall. Number 6, Twisters. Twisters only made $339 million. I had way overpredicted this. I predicted this would make $500 million minimum. That's how much I predicted this, but it only made 339. Only 339. I really thought Middle America was show out for this movie. I thought that because, particularly those that are in Tornado Alley that get a lot of tornadoes and twisters, I thought they would want to show up for this movie because it would be relevant to them. But not even they wanted to see this movie, apparently. This was just kind of fizzled out pretty quickly after the opening weekend. And the opening weekend wasn't super high to begin with. I'm honestly surprised this movie didn't do better. I really thought this movie would be a lot stronger. But again, we're only at number 6. Or I should say we're already at number 6. And we're only at 339 million. Really weak summer overall. Really, it's only the top 3 movies that did super well. 339 is respectable. It's respectable, Rob, but I still think it should have done more. I think they definitely left money on the table. This movie was predicted to do a lot better. A lot of because I read a lot of the box office pundits and all that. A lot of people were saying this could be one of the big surprise hits of the summer, and it just wasn't. It only did 339 million, which I do think is an okay number, but I don't think it's a great number. It's just okay. I do think that they kind of missed out on not making the tornadoes scarier and not focusing more on the destruction and stuff like that. Personally, I think that's where the movie went wrong. But it did okay. I still thought it would do a lot better though. This is a disappointment in my eyes. Yeah, Alexander, I would say this movie still underperformed. And the budget was $200 million, as Vincent said. So this movie definitely, I doubt, is breaking even. If it is breaking even, it'll probably break even on digital sales, but not because of box office alone. Anise says things cost more this summer. So do you guys think it's because of like economic reasons why a lot of these movies didn't do like super well? That could be. That could be. Maybe a lot of people are just saving their money for other things and not going to the movies. I will say, if you don't have like a lot of kids to pay for and go with, I recommend getting AMC A-list. That's what I have. And I really, really like it. I go see movies all the time, obviously, and I save a lot of money by doing A-list. So if you like going to the movies but you don't want to pay a ton of money to go to the movies, I recommend getting AMC A-list. Like, it's really, it pays for itself. Un Poco Loco says, Twisters Part 2 didn't have 3 fire tornadoes juggling 4 cows, so I didn't watch. Exactly! Where was the drama? I hate so much that this movie focused on the characters, like, to an annoying degree, when I just wanted to see tornadoes some stuff up, you know? Like, I just wanted to see the tornadoes destroy stuff. Like, that's what I wanted to see. I didn't care about this 3-way relationship at all. Like, that's not what I came for this movie for. But anyway, that's just my personal opinion on why I think this movie didn't really, like, hit as much as I thought it was supposed to. But anyway, moving on. So, the next movie is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which came in at number 5. Now, I actually got the placement of this, like, dead on. I said in my original list this would come out to number 5, and it would make up to about $500 million. And the truth is, it made up to about 397, so it just came up to a little bit less than what I predicted. I thought this would make minimally 450, and it didn't get up to that. It didn't even get up to 400. But still, I think this is considered like a modest hit. I still think this could have done better. Obviously, I predicted it would do better, but it's still okay. I would put this in the same basket as the Twisters box office, where it's solid. It's okay, but it could have been a lot better. Again, a lot of people who saw this movie didn't like it, or they thought it was boring, so I think that's maybe why this movie didn't do as well as it could have. I thought this movie would make about the same as like what the last Caesar movie made, but it made a lot less, so that's not a good sign. That means it's losing people, and you know, Disney wants to keep people onto this franchise. I'm really curious to see what they do with the next franchise, the next Planet of the Apes movie, because I know Disney's not going to want to stop making these movies. But I do think they're going to have to make some changes, because this is obviously not sustainable. Are you guys surprised that this movie didn't even make 400 million? I mean, I thought this could make up to 500, so I really overestimated this movie. Or do you guys think this is a solid box office win, and you think this is okay? What do you think? Vincent says, you're tired of popular IP, we need new stories. Yeah, I agree with that. I think maybe that's why a lot of these movies did just okay. I think maybe people are looking for something new and fresh. But we really didn't get much new and fresh options this summer, unfortunately. Okay, Evil Connor. The only aesthetically pleasing thing about Twisters was Anthony Ramos. Well, I'm glad you like Anthony Ramos. Interesting. I did like him in The Heights in Hamilton. I do think he's talented. I just think he was not written very well in Twisters. His character was written so badly. Like, he literally started getting laughed at when he was on the screen in my audience. Like, every time Anthony started to show up, my audience started to laugh at him, which was not... I felt kind of bad for him, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with Alexander. I would consider this to be an underperformance. I think these movies should have done better. Like, I think it did enough that maybe it's not an embarrassment like The Fall Guy or Furiosa, but this should have done a lot better, in my opinion. I know you guys can hear Prancer walking around. Sorry about that. Alexander also liked In the Heights. Yeah, I really like that movie. But moving on, number 4. Y'all, this is number 4, and this is how much it made. This is how weak the summer was. Number 4 only made $402 million. And it's Bad Boys, not Bad Boys for Life. Ride or Die. Bad Boys, Ride or Die. I really like this movie, as I've already said. I'm not going to reiterate my opinion on the movie. But the fact that number 4 is only $402 million, again, very, very weak summer. Extremely weak summer. My number 4 was Twisters. which I thought would make like up to 550. So I was very, very wrong about like how much money these movies would make. Overall, I was just like way overestimating most of these movies. But it's still a hit. It's still considered a success. They're still gonna make another Bad Boys movie, so I'm happy about that. It's a solid win, very solid. I think for this kind of movie, I would say this is a really good win. Do I think maybe hopefully I wish that it made more? Yes. But it is what it is. At least it's good enough that we're gonna get another movie, so I can't complain too much. I'm really happy that Will Smith got this win because even though I don't agree with what he did at the Oscars and I thought it was very stupid and childish of him to slap Chris Rock, I do think that Hollywood has overreacted to the slap, and I don't think at this point the punishments match the crime. So I'm glad that the audience spoke and they're like, we don't care about the slap like that. We still gonna see his movies. Because for whatever reason, Hollywood really, really still wants to punish him. And I'm like, you guys let, like, actual sex offenders and rapists walk the red carpet and you don't bat an eye. But this guy who slapped someone, which was wrong, you guys want to just, like, end his career? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, how people will defend people, like, I don't know. I feel like Hollywood just, again, has, like, misplaced values. Because I'm just like, yeah, he shouldn't have slapped Chris Rock. But, like, they really want him to just go away. And I'm like, that is so dumb when you have so many actual offenders that you guys constantly defend. So many abusers that you constantly defend. Like, freaking, like, what's his name? Pitt. What's his name? Pitt. I'm drawing all of the blanks on names today, but Brad Pitt. The fact that Brad Pitt is on record, like, abusing his own family to the point where his kids don't even want their last name shared with him. They don't even want to be called a Pitt anymore. Yet, the last time Brad Pitt was at an awards show, like, everyone just couldn't stop fawning over him. Like, oh, Brad Pitt, you're amazing. It's like, you guys will just fall on your own sword defending abusers, but you think Will Smith is the one that crosses the line? Makes no sense to me. Or how many people defended Harvey Weinstein? Exactly. Like, makes no sense to me. So I'm glad that the audience spoke on this and was like, F y'all, we still like him. Because, yeah, it was wrong for him to slap Chris Rock, but I think Hollywood is even wronger for trying to end his career over it. That's how I feel about it. That was all entire aside, but anyway, I'm just glad that this movie did well. But the fact that this is number 4 with only $400 million is kind of crazy. But then we have a massive jump at number 3, sorry, with $852 million. That's how much Despicable Me 4 made. $852 million. Oh my gosh, this movie, this franchise is still massive. It's still a huge hit. People love these movies. People still love going to see the Minions and all of that. I thought this movie would be the one where people were like, I think I'm finally over it. But no, people still wanted to see this movie, even though I thought it was terrible. I thought it was easily the worst Despicable Me movie by far. I didn't even think it was that funny. And I usually actually think the Minions are pretty funny. I didn't even think they were funny in this one. I just thought they were annoying. So I am surprised by how well this did, but also maybe I shouldn't be, because the last one made like almost $1 billion anyway. So this is pretty close to what the last one made. So this franchise still has a lot of steam. It still has a lot of interest. They're definitely going to make another one. So yeah, I was right about this one being number 3. I had it number 3 in my original list as well. So I was right about the placement here. I was just wrong about how much money it would make. Anyone surprised at how strong this franchise is all these years later? I know it is quite a jump. That's why I said really only the top 3 movies that I have on this list for the summer actually made like a lot of money, like the kind of money that Hollywood aims for. Everything else on the list made it like $400 and less, $400 million and less, which is really, really, really sad. I think next summer will be stronger, but I still think overall this summer was pretty weak. Yeah, this poster is pretty creepy, right? Riri is also over the Minions, yeah. Yeah, internationally, people still love these movies for whatever reason. Vincent Hull says, I hate this movie so much. People thought it would be Inside Out too. God. I mean, I don't even understand how kids like this movie. Like, again, I actually think the first Minions movie is a really fun, cute movie that I can understand why, like, families and kids would like it. This movie, I thought it was just vapid and dumb. I thought it was real dumb. I did not like this movie at all. Like, if I make a worst movies list at the end of the year, this will probably be on there for sure. Oh, you think Minions TikTok saved it Star Sped Up? Maybe. Apparently there are a lot of Minions fans on TikTok, which is interesting. But moving on. So number 2, you guys know, is Deadpool and Wolverine. Made $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion. So that's a lot of money. I thought this would make like $800 million tops. So I was very wrong about this movie. I vastly underestimated it for all the reasons I already told you guys. So this was a big surprise. I guess it shouldn't have been, but like I really thought this movie was not going to hit $1 billion, but I was very wrong. And as the joke goes in the movie, Hugh Jackman will be playing this character until he's like 90 years old. Disney is not going to let him hang up the claws anytime soon when they can make this kind of money off of him. So you should definitely expect to see both Deadpool and Wolverine again, for sure. I don't think they're going away anytime soon. Even though I think maybe it's time for the next generation. As I've said before, I think it's time for the next generation of X-Men. As much as I like the old cast, I really wanted to start over with a new cast. But I don't think we're going to start over with a new cast anytime soon if Hugh Jackman's sticking around. So, who knows? We'll see. Star Sped Up says, I feel like this movie was just brain rot for Gen Alpha to consume. I don't disagree with you. But a lot of you love it, so I've already said my piece. I'm not going to hate on the movie anymore. Anyway, moving on. Number 1, again, made twice as much as what I expected on the high end. I thought this movie would make like max $800 million, and it made twice that. $1.6 billion. $1.6 billion. Now, speaking of character designs, I forgot who brought it up earlier, but I actually think the character designs in this movie are really, really good. So maybe that's also something that helped it over like If or whatever. But yeah, really love this movie. Can't say enough good stuff about it. But the fact that it made twice as much as I was expecting really surprises me. Did not see it making this much at all. Pretty crazy that it made $1.6 billion. Insanity. But really, the top 3 saved the box office this summer, as Madonna just said. I mean, the jump from number 4 with $400 million to number 3 with $852 million is pretty dramatic. If it weren't for the top 3 movies this summer, I would say this was probably like the worst summer in decades. Like that's maybe, excluding 2020 obviously. That's how bad this summer was. Very weak summer overall. But the top 3 made a lot of money. The top 3 did really well. But yes, very surprising. Yeah, I think the character designs are very strong. I actually really like Anxiety's design. I like that it looks like her brain is exploding. I think that's very cool. But anyway, just to compare the two, my list versus the actual list, and you can see that, like, yeah, I was very wrong about a number of these movies. So, my top 3 were correct in that I thought, Inside Out 2, Deadpool, and Despicable Me would be the top 3 movies. I was right about that, but I was very wrong about how much each of these movies would make. I underestimated all of the top 3. However, I overestimated all of the 4 through 10 movies. I thought most of these movies would make a lot more than they did. The fact that I had Furiosa with $400 million when it didn't even crack the top 10 is embarrassing. The fact that I had The Fall Guy in the top 10 didn't crack it. Embarrassing. Borderlands also didn't crack the top 10. I did not see If It Ends With Us or Garfield making the top 10. Those were the 3 most surprising movies to me. And the fact that most of these numbers are way less than what I had anticipated for the movies on the left. So, yeah. I got a lot wrong. I got some of the placement right. Like, for both of these, Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, for the both of these, I have the top 3 correct as far as placement. But I did not have the numbers right at all. So this is what I thought would happen versus what actually happened. Pretty unpredictable summer overall, I would say. I did not see this top 10 list happening in the slightest. What stands out to you between my predicted list and the actual list? Do you guys see any other surprises that I didn't bring up? Or are there any movies that you're surprised made the top 10 or didn't make the top 10? What do you guys think? Young Hollywood says this is the worst summer in Hollywood history. I think summer 2020 probably still beats this. But yes, not a good summer overall, I would say. Pretty weak overall. They all look like TV movies, says Evil Connor. What do you mean? Do you mean like aesthetically, like the cinematography has been pretty weak? I could agree with that on some of the movies. Although Alien Romulus looks gorgeous. Great cinematography for that movie. I would say Alien Romulus, even though it didn't make the top 10 either. Which is really sad because I really like that movie. But I don't think it's going to make the top 10. Even after it's been in theaters for a few weeks, I still don't see it beating If, which just breaks my soul that If will make more money than Alien Romulus. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. Really sad, honestly, because Alien Romulus, I haven't seen If, to be fair, but I can't see that movie being better than Alien Romulus. That's just sad. Evil Connor says, the cinematography and just the fact that they're all sequels. Yeah, I mean, this just shows you that sequels still reign supreme, obviously. There's only one original movie in this entire list. Kind of two if you want to count It Ends With Us. And that they're the very bottom. But the rest are all like sequels or based on an IP, for sure. Oh yeah, Robbie wanted Maxine to do better. I was surprised Maxine flopped as much as it did, because I know Pearl, at least I loved Pearl. Pearl was actually one of my favorite movies of the year it came out. So I thought the hype off of Pearl would help Maxine like do better. So I was a little surprised Maxine flopped. I'm not surprised. I mean, I am surprised. I think Inside Out 3 is bound to happen, Hidden Name. Wait, Angel Barrera, you think What If is amazing? Oh, you said What If is amazing. I mean, maybe I should see the movie and I don't know. I just don't want to. The trailer looked so bad to me. Okay, Star Sped Up, Deadpool and Wolverine deserves the billion. Yeah. Oh, Cheetah Viper, you just saw Pearl this week and you loved it? I loved Pearl. I actually want to watch Pearl again. That's a good movie. And you guys know I don't really care about horror movies. So for me to say I liked a horror movie and it was one of my favorite movies of the year, that should show you like how good the movie is. It's a really strong movie. I would say it's less horror and more like psychological thriller. I think that's why I liked it, because the main character, Pearl, she's super twisted in the head, but she's also like fascinating from a psychological perspective. So I think that's why I liked Pearl. It's more because of like, I was like trying to psychoanalyze Pearl because she's such an interesting character. Jocelyn says, saw Alien Romulus yesterday. It was so good. I recommend for any alien or horror fan. Yes, very good movie. Very good movie. Do you plan to do one of these during the holiday season too? I think that's also a pretty good season for movies. Is it? I actually felt like this year's holiday movies list was very, very weak. Usually Hollywood saves like a really big movie for December, but the biggest movie coming out in December is Sonic the Hedgehog. Right? Is there another big movie coming out this December that I'm forgetting about? I actually feel like the options for the holiday season this year are very weak. Unless you're talking about, like, November. Like, I actually think this year November movies are much stronger than the December movies. Like, in November, we're gonna get Wicked, we're gonna get Gladiator, we're gonna get Moana. Like, November is gonna be a good month for movies, but December looks very, very weak to me. The voice says, do you plan to do what? Okay, I already said that. Pop says the Garfield movie felt like the most generic marketing cash grab I've ever seen. Did not deserve that much. Yeah, I agree. I was surprised to see the Garfield movie made that much. Very surprised. Oh yeah, and Mufasa. I forgot about Mufasa too. But did I really forget about it, or did I just leave it out? Oh yeah, and we have Joker 2 in October. So yeah, excited about that. Excited about that. Oh, Rob says that's really award season if that's what you're into. You know, I'm really curious to see what actually gets nominated for awards this year, because overall, so far, I mean, I know most awards movies usually come out later in the year, but I feel like there hasn't really been many movies that could even be nominated for an Oscar right now. Like, right now we have, like, Dune 2, which will probably get nominations. I'm hoping Pixar and Disney actually campaign for Inside Out 2 for Best Picture, because I think it actually has a chance at getting a nomination, and I think it deserves it. So I hope that they actually campaign for Inside Out 2 to get a Best Picture nom, not just Best Animated Feature, but we'll see. Yeah, other than that, like, I think all the rest of the movies that will get nominated probably haven't come out yet, because I don't think there's really been anything else that's been Oscar worthy yet. But what do you guys think? Yes, I think Wicked, Gladiator 2, and Moana will do really well. I think November is going to be a big month for movies. Du Bois says, let's be real, you've got to see Mufasa after how much we've roasted it. Oh, I'm definitely going to see Mufasa. I'm going to torture myself for you guys so I can review it on this channel. Because you're right, I've talked about it too much not to review it. But I'm not looking forward to it. I don't think I'm going to enjoy it. But maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe I'll be like, oh, wait, it's actually not that bad. But I don't know. If it's anything like the last live-action Lion King movie, I can't see myself liking it. Oh, you think Challengers could get a nom for Zendaya? I would like that. I really like Zendaya, but I feel like that movie didn't do well enough to get enough attention at the Oscars, so I kind of doubt it. The Crow and Borderlands for Razzies? Maybe. I'll see you, Du Bois. Anyway, that we've already went way over. So that's my list. That's the actual end of summer list versus what I thought would happen this summer. I was so wrong about so many movies. This was a very unpredictable top 10 list, to be honest. Very unpredictable. But also kind of fun, because if I had gotten everything right, it would have been boring. But the fact that we got If in the top 10, very surprising. Very surprising. But anyway, that was the stream for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for being around for this long. Really appreciate you guys always being here and supporting the channel. I'll see you guys again on Thursday for the next show. This has been great. Love talking.